Hello, hello. I got to unmute myself. Hello, 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 everybody. And welcome to the Audacious Confidence Show here on Dreamaniac TV. I'm your host, Alicia Couri, and I am the Red Carpet CEO. And I'm here to influence, educate, inspire, and entertain you so you can step into your own audacious confidence and really live the life that you dreamed of. Live what's possible for yourself despite your fears and your past. So today's show is so exciting. And as you can see, I have on this really bedazzled, my sash that's so bedazzled. And you can't really see what it has written on it, but I'll show you. It says Mrs. Elite United States Woman of Achievement, because today's show is all about pageantry. It's about pageants. And my guest is a phenomenal woman. She's been a guest here on Dreamaniac before. And I dragged it against the mic. I can't hear that, but sorry. I think it's all these like little diamonds that dragged along the microphone. So next time I do that, I'll sit back a little bit. But I am not a product of like pageantry, really. I have only ever been in one pageant my entire life, and that was this Woman of Achievement. Thank you, Marlena. Woman of Achievement pageant. But Stacey has such a remarkable, I guess, a lifelong journey in pageantry that I'm so excited to talk about, because until I was actually in it, I really still didn't understand it, and I didn't understand the whole everything that goes into it and how really important it is to so many women, and me included, how much it really does boost your confidence and works, helps you really spread your message and expand your platform. And there's so many benefits to the whole world of pageantry that is really, I think, for the most part, still misunderstood. So that's why I wanted to talk about confidence in pageantry, because it's something that helps boost your confidence. And my story in pageants, even though it's this one pageant, is that I really didn't want to do it. I mean, I wanted to do it, but I didn't want to do it. I had this kind of, well, why am I doing it? What's the purpose? Why should I go ahead and do this? And as I spoke to Marlena Moore, who is the founder of Women of Achievement, and I spoke to some of the other delegates that were going to compete in the same pageant that I was in, I started to really ask myself why I was resisting pageantry. What was the resistance? And for me, and I'm not speaking for anybody else, but for me, the resistance was being judged. Like, I had lived my whole life in fear of judgment of others. And now that I had kind of crossed over that bridge of being judged by others, now I'm going to put myself in front of a panel of judges to be judged. I couldn't understand, why would I do that to myself? And so once I was able to really recognize that was my resistance, it wasn't whether I won or lost, or that I wasn't good enough, or it wasn't any of that. It was really literally, I didn't want to be judged. And so once I recognized and was aware of that, I was able to step out of that and really enjoy the process of the pageant, and really getting to know more about myself and getting to know more about the world of pageantry. And it was so remarkable. The women that I met, they're phenomenal. And a lot of them have been delegates for other pageants. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know until I met Stacey that you can be in multiple pageants. And I thought you were like, that's it, you do it and you're done. But no, there's a whole world of pageants that I didn't even know existed. And I was so excited to find out more about it. And So it was really a great confidence booster for me too, to enter it, to participate. And then the bonus of all of that, because I won even before I got there, because I made the decision to do it and I played full out and I did all that I could do. And the bonus was actually winning the crown, which was so incredible. And being able to represent the Women of Achievement organization for this year of 2020, albeit very differently than I had planned or that we normally would have, but still being able to be the United States Mrs. Elite United States Woman of Achievement for 2020 and representing this organization has been really amazing. And I'm so honored and thankful for that opportunity. And so I want to really get more information and insight into the world of pageantry with my guest, Stacey Simpson. And so let me tell you a little bit about Miss Stacey. So Stacey is the founder and director of Gymagination, which provides low-cost gymnastics education programs for children ages 2 to 12 since 2003. She's been involved in the pageant industry for the last 39 years as a contestant, as a judge, as a director, as a coach, a reporter, and host, and is the reigning Mrs. Perfect Glamour International 2019. She's the founder and host of Pageantry Now, which covers red carpet pageant events, as well as interviewing title holders from all over the world. Stacey's inspiration for being involved in pageantry was the positive effects wearing a crown can have, and has used her titles and platform to share her story of survival and to share others' stories. Her Pageantry Now catchphrase is positivity in pageantry. Title holders using their crown and a sash to change their world. And she does that every single day. Stacey is a 3-time cancer survivor. She was diagnosed with terminal lymphoma on 9/11, 1996. She was given 8 weeks to live, and her original treatments caused subsequent breast and skin cancer, as well as heart failure and coronary heart disease. She has undergone chemotherapy twice and has had double bypass surgery. Stacey is also a national ambassador for the American Heart Association as survivor of heart failure. She has been recently featured on CNN, NBC Nightly News, NPR, and the Boston Globe as a patient representative for the American Heart Association. She's raised over $4 million for the American Heart Association, American Cancer Society, and Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and several other charities. In 2011, Stacey was participating in a fundraiser triathlon and while training, survived being hit by a truck while riding her bicycle. She's won the President's Call to Service Award for over 15,000 hours of community service to the organizations she has served. And Stacey is also a survivor of habitual sexual and physical assault that began when she was 5 years old. Stacey lives down here in South Florida. It's where I met her with her wonderful husband, Michael. So thank you, Stacey, for coming on the show. I'd like to welcome Stacey.
Oh my gosh, it sounds so crazy hearing all of that about myself. It's so surreal.
It's surreal. It is.
Thanks so much for letting me on the show. I really appreciate it, Alicia.
I love that, I love your attitude, your winning spirit. And I think pageants has something to do with that.
Yes, I absolutely agree. Like pageantry really enabled me to become the best person that I wanted to be. And as a child, I am autistic. I have Asperger's, so it's a mild autism, but I wasn't very social. I didn't really understand how to interact with people. And because of the assault that I went through habitually, which you spoke about, I really was very introverted and didn't really know how to express myself. But I wanted to be a model. I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I'm 5 foot, 5'3". So I know we laugh. I know you want to be 5'4".
But you know, I'm only 5 feet, half an inch. So I'm 5 feet. My son's waving.
First of all, your stature makes you so much taller. So there is no way, and seriously, your stature, your confidence, everything about you presents you as your personality makes you way
6
taller
feet
than
tall.
5. Exactly. So don't ever discount that. And
no, I thank you, because a lot of people, when they meet me in real life, IRL, they always say, "I thought you were much bigger than that," and I'm like, "No, I only appear to be."
It's all smoke and mirrors. So.
Smoke and mirrors, yeah.
But pageants, you know, I was assaulted by my dad. I had to have reconstructive surgery on my face at 16.
Well, let's talk about that a second. Yes, because for your childhood, segment 1, we're going to talk about your childhood and how it led you to pageantry. So you were sexually abused repeatedly by people you knew.
Yes. So go ahead.
No. You go ahead.
No, it started from a neighbor when I was 5, then my grandfather when I was 11, and then physical and emotional assault came from my father when I was a teenager. And an incident when I was 16 led to my father punching me and having to have reconstructive surgery to put my face back together. And 3 months after this incident, so I have this massive scar down my face. My mom says, "Let's do a pageant," and I went, "What?"
What? Yeah. So you had to have reconstructive surgery because he hit you so hard that it broke the bones.
He took his fist, so he hit me here, and then had a diamond on his hand and pulled it down. So the diamond actually,
ripped open your cheek.
So, wow. And then there's a dent in this cheek here that the cheek was broken and it can never. So I have this weird dimple that isn't really a dimple. Do you see it? You can't see it as I say.
Missing. Yeah, it's something missing there. So it dimples because it's missing. Wow. So 3 months after that,
my mom put me in my first pageant. And I said, okay, I don't know what that is, you know, other than I'd watched Miss America growing up. I'd watched Miss USA and watched Miss Universe. And I really thought that this was this could change my life, this opportunity to be in a pageant and win fame and fortune. So, and be discovered as a model. So I entered my first pageant. I knew nothing. I wore a peach colored dress with bright blue eyeshadow, and I placed first runner up, which was like crazy to me. Crazy.
Amazing. Yeah.
And I had no training at all. But at that moment I realized this is what I want to do. And I thought it was insane because, again, like you were talking about, that whole idea of being judged. Here I am, I'm this shy. I mean, I don't think I was ever shy, but like introverted in my own way.
Unsociable. Having trouble socializing.
Right. And I'm going to open myself, and I'm being critiqued constantly at home and being critiqued all the time. Hey, August.
He says, I'm not going through that to get a dimple. I'm glad you're safe and private. I know. The lengths we go to.
Beauty.
For beauty.
But you know, I really thought it was an opportunity to make myself better. And and I loved it. So then I went out of the state pageant, and of course I knew nothing about pageantry really other than what I saw on TV. And as you've experienced now going through the process, what you see on TV is the end product, and it's only 2 hours of what goes into the
days and days and
months
and months. Well, the competition itself is days and days and days, but the preparation to get there is months and months and months of prep. And it's amazing being on the other side of this, being able to see that. I want to just remind everybody that you are watching the Audacious Confidence show here on Dreamaniac TV. I'm your host, Alicia Couri, and with me is the fabulous Stacey Simpson, the founder of Pageantry Now. And we're talking about confidence in pageantry. Like, how do you really grow your confidence being a part of this whole phenomena of pageantry? So going into segment 2, I want to just shift just a little bit, because from your childhood trauma. Now, High Tech Mother says, love the blue, my favorite color. Yay.
The pageant's color. It's my title's color. So
it's your title colors. Yes, nice. And Sebastian says, I'm working hard for the next pageant to be the person of the year international. Hint, hint, Stacey. And then, so yeah, that's where pageantry needs to really go to as well. And so you had this childhood trauma, you had Asperger's and all this other emotional stuff. And then boom, you discovered pageantry. What do you think of people who think that pageants are just sort of vain and superficial and vapid? What is your response to that, having been in the industry for a long 39 years?
I'm at 37, almost 39. But yeah, honestly, the truth is that I thought those things too in the beginning when I first got into it. And I thought it was really about, you know, the look and about the things that, and the prizes and being famous. And so, you know, at 16, I think that was my thought process, was like, this will get me out of the situations that I'm in. And it did and it didn't. So my answer is that it can be that, but what transformed with me later on is really what, you know, made me who I am. So the first opportunities, the first pageants I did, helped me be better with interview, helped me be better with interpersonal skills. I went on to compete for the title of Miss Florida Teen USA. It was the second year they ever had the pageant. And I loved it. I loved being on that stage. I go back and I look at the pictures and I think, oh my gosh, I'm that same person still today, which I think is pretty awesome that girl still exists.
Yeah.
But I left pageantry. I did compete in a couple of other pageants into my 20s. I left pageantry just because I was first runner up. I was first runner up. I was first runner up. I constantly had this, I would win local titles, but I wouldn't win state titles.
Like
and I
bigger
wouldn't,
titles. Mm-hmm.
So it was great to win a local title, but it really wasn't getting me to that next stage. And then, as you said in the bio, I was diagnosed with my cancer September 11th, 1996. So my 5-year anniversary was the day that changed the world. And I started really soul searching at that moment. I had survivor's guilt. I felt bad about what had happened to me still being alive, and thousands of people being dead. And I had a dream. I won a pageant. And I went, oh, I woke up. I literally woke up and I went, oh my God, that's it. This is how, well, because wearing a crown opens opportunities for you to share your story. And I felt I had a job to do to share my story. And from the moment that I stepped back into the arena, I had a purpose. This was sharing my story, telling people about how they could survive, how they could be better, how they could get through the darkest moments in their life. And I started winning.
And you started winning because now you have a purpose for being there.
Right,
it wasn't just, I'm coming to win. It was, I have a message to share. And so I believe that your passion for even entering your whole energy shifted in that moment. And it became a purpose-driven mission to win. And it's not that you necessarily were there, I need to win. It was more that energy just drew that to you. It was just like now. And I can say, I understand that, because all right, I'm not any kind of pageant aficionado like you are, but just having that joy, for me, being in the pageant that I was in, I had already felt like I won. So I was just there having a great time. I wasn't stressed out. I was just, my purpose being there was so, for me, was so solid that I I already felt like I won. So having them actually announce that I won was like gravy. It was like, yes.
Well, you know, and I competed in the same. We had the same title. So in 2016, I was
Miss Florida.
Mrs. Florida.
Mrs.
So
Florida.
you were going into the pageant, you know, with my title, and I mean, I didn't win, and I was okay. I mean, the whole week for me was kind of a catastrophe that happened, but I had a purpose that I needed to be there for, and that's all that mattered. Like, I didn't care if I went
Oh
home
my
with a
gosh.
crap.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that whole week with you in a moment. So stay tuned for segment 3 when we get to that. But I want to really dive into the confidence aspect of doing pageants for you from 16. You talked about how it helped you with interview skills and interpersonal skills. But what exactly did it do? Like, how did that happen for you? How did that translate to growing your confidence from someone who couldn't communicate with people, having the scar on your face, being sort of introverted and not wanting to communicate? So how did that tangibly translate?
It was something that kind of built my confidence, and I don't want people to misunderstand. Like, I speak all the time. I would talk all the time, but I would almost have these internal dialogues out with myself. So going into a situation where I had to communicate with other people was interesting. And what ended up happening with working on interview skills was that I learned that I had to make eye contact, that I had to, you know, speak more succinctly to not go into my whole life story, which I still do. I mean, it's hard not to. It's just,
You have such a story, though. Oh my goodness.
It's a crazy story. But you know, it was really starting to really understand that this was not as important as what was in here. And that was what the beginning phases of pageantry started to teach me, was that as even though I wasn't winning, I was learning about myself. I was learning about my value as a person. I was learning about how I could stand on stage and still hear, no, you didn't win, and walk off and still be okay with that. And I think that one of the things, like you were saying in the intro, is that there's that fear of being judged. And in my particular case, I was leaning into that discomfort so that I could grow. And I think that's what pageantry allows you to do, is that you're putting yourself in a situation where someone is subjectively telling you you're not good enough.
Right.
And you being able to stand up and go, you know what? Yes, I am. Yeah.
Being okay, not being okay, not with them saying you're good enough, but being okay with, yes, I am. That's just your opinion. And I believe that's why when I went into this, I was good with the judgment, because it's so subjective.
Right.
You know, I just felt like they're not telling me that I'm not good enough. They're not labeling me as not good enough. I already know I am good enough. And so I'm just going there to showcase what I have, what my platform is, which was Audacious Confidence, how I can grow that, how I can expand that and share that with a larger audience. And that's where the winning came in for me, that it doesn't matter. It didn't matter specifically if I came home with the crown or the title, because the judgment wasn't about me.
Right. Well, and we talked about that before you went too. That was one of the conversations that you and I had before you went. And I said, you know what?
She was
don't worry about it.
Coach. She was my coach.
I told you, go have a good time. It doesn't matter if you have a crown. It doesn't matter. That's not what this process is about. It's about you being you. And if they love you, great.
Self-discovery.
Yeah.
The self-discovery part of it is so amazing. You don't know what it is you can do. And another guest of our show, I won't say her name, but she was on the show before. I met her there at the pageant. And, you know, there was a moment that because we're both tiny mites. We were both little people. And, you know, there was a moment where it was like, oh my gosh, everybody else here is taller than I am, and we had that in common. And we had that little moment of, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether they're taller or not. It's about what you are here to accomplish. And let's just stick with what we're here to do. And we had fun after that. It wasn't, you know, we have to stop self-judging.
Right.
That's basically it. And comparing ourselves to others.
It's hard not to. I mean, in fact, in this world right now with social media, how can you not compare yourself constantly? And here you're subjecting yourself to something where you are. And yet sorry, my dog just jumped on my lap. But
that's okay. Don't apologize.
She clearly wants my attention. So.
Yeah.
But you know, it makes you grow. It gives you so many opportunities. A crown opens up so much for you, and it really changes your life if you allow it to in a positive way. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, is if you are willing to take those risks and push yourself into discomfort and allow yourself to grow, it's an amazing way. Yeah, I know. It's like I'm always fidgeting with mine too.
Yeah, you have to allow yourself to grow through this process. Absolutely. And you have done that in the most remarkable way, because I want to also touch on in this segment, since we're talking about confidence in pageantry, how it has helped you through your health battles. Because you have, like we said in the opening bio, cancer 3 times survivor, heart failure, you know, now you're with the American Heart Association, and you've raised so much money for cancer and lymphoma and all these things. How has pageantry really assisted, aided, or helped you to be that strong voice, not only getting through all that stuff that you did, but also now being an advocate or proponent of it?
I think that when I went back to pageantry, I realized that this was my opportunity to use the crown in a positive way. And it opened up so many doors. Like the very first title that I won was in Texas. And so then the next thing I knew, I was traveling all over this huge state, where I swore as a teenager that I would never compete in a pageant in Texas. And my very first state title I won was in Texas. So be careful what you say, because sometimes those things will come to you. But it really enabled me to be able to go to these organizations and say, I am such and such. I would like to represent your organization. Not because just being a survivor wasn't always enough. It was more having to show that I was capable of be able to be that person and share my story. So.
Awesome. So let me take some comments. I see them popping up on the screen. So from Dreamaniac TV, loving the show, my first time watching. Alex, he's from Team Dreamaniac and Sebastian.com. High Tech Mother says, you are perfect the way you are. And Sebastian says, I don't care what they say or do to me, because I am built on my power and I will rise constantly. August says, bravo, Stacey Simpson. Sebastian said, I am working hard for the next pageant to be the person. Yep, I think that's where we started. We left off the last time. So the opportunities. So now with your heart failure,
right,
when you discovered that you were training for a triathlon, correct? Let me see if I get the story right. You were training for a triathlon. You got hit by a truck on your bicycle and was pinned under the truck.
Correct.
Okay.
You gotta laugh at it at this point. It's like, really?
And so, yeah, all 5'3" of you under the truck, pinned. And so that's when they discovered that your heart was operating at what percentage? 15%?
15%. So shortly right after that incident, I had been diagnosed a year later with heart failure, but it was reasonably controllable. It wasn't impeding me from doing a triathlon. So clearly it wasn't that bad. But what happened, the trauma to my body, the medications that they had to give me to kind of help correct the damage to my body, that was actually what caused my heart to drop to 15%. So by the accident was in July. By February of the following year, they were telling me I needed to have a heart transplant. Like there was no way I was going to survive.
Wow.
And because now I'm not afraid of sharing my story. It was at an ER visit that I came across a young doctor that said, "Hey, have you thought about using stem cells? We've got a stem cell program here in Miami. We'd love to be able to try to get you into it." And I was like, "Well, I've heard about stem cells for cancer treatments, but sure." And I chose to be inevitably I became the first female
The first
to receive.
female. That's awesome. So wrapping up that segment, we're really talking about how the pageants, being involved in pageants, really expanded not just your confidence in being able to interview, being able to, yes, Stacey is the bomb. She is a fighter. But being able to interview, learn interview skills, learn how interpersonal relationships, taking you from where you were and really exposing you to a lot of different opportunities and allowing your message to expand and increase once you started winning titles. So in this next segment, we're going on to segment 3, where we're going to talk about what you've created from all these opportunities for yourself, because you still do have imagination. But I just want to remind everyone that this is the Audacious Confidence show that you're watching. If you're just tuning in, I am your host, Alicia Couri, and my guest tonight is Stacey Simpson. And Stacey, tell me, how many pageants have you won?
150.
150 titles. And that doesn't include all the runners-up that you were. How many times you were runner-up?
Well, I competed in 150. I have 125 local titles. Now I have I figured out 20 state titles, 10 national titles, and 6 international titles. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Wow. And I love that you keep some of your crowns, just a few of them, but what do you do with the rest of your crowns?
All of my crowns I've donated over the years to a cancer charity called the 4-Day Foundation, which hosts parties for kids that are going through cancer treatments. And each child is crowned queen over their illness with one of my crowns.
That is so precious. That is awesome. So you see, it has such a ripple effect, because it's not just spreading the message, being in the pageant, but you're able to take just a small token of your pageant, your crown, and bring joy, so much joy to, how can I bring my sister on the show? We live in India and she has a big story. You know what? Go to Dreamaniac.com. And there's a tab there that says be a guest, and you can fill out that form so that you can get your sister on this show. All right. So go to Dreamaniac.com. Yes. Sebastian said, that's my favorite, donating the crown to the kids. Absolutely. Because now you have created a dream for them. You've created something. I don't even want to say the name, Stacey. I am. Vision says, "Yay, Stacey Simpson." So you've now given a dream, a hope, a desire to a young child who is really, really pushing through one of the most difficult times in their life, and using that crown as something tangible that they can step into and really feel great about themselves. So I love that. So you have expanded your platform to creating a show, because you still have the gym for kids, which is so beautiful, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you started something that, when I met you, was like the genesis of what you have today. So you want to tell us a little bit about Pageantry Now?
Yeah, Pageantry Now started. I actually was working with another pageant online program, and I will never forget the very first interview that I ever did. You could hear me shaking because I was going live, and I thought that this is the most terrifying moment I've ever had. And in the midst of being part of this organization, I had the opportunity to go to Miss Universe here in Miami, and then started just being on their show. Like, similar to this, I was on their show like several times, and finally the following year I had the opportunity to win an award on their behalf that was hosted here in Miami, and got the opportunity to interview one of the most famous fashion designers for pageantry. His name is Mac Dougal. He's from India, and in the interview I actually talked about him. Like, I didn't care about the designs, because pageantry for me is not about who I wear, how I look.
Dresses and all of that.
Exactly. I don't care about that. And so all my interviews were about those things, and I think that's where things kind of went awry. So at the Miss Universe, that was the Oops Miss Universe, where Steve Harvey called the wrong name, I was thrown out onto the red carpet to do these interviews because no one else in the team was there. And I got to interview Steve Harvey, and I got to be there in the midst of this craziness.
Wow.
And I got interviewed on the red carpet myself, which was even crazier. Is that they were doing lives, and they interviewed me from the red carpet, and I thought, okay, well, this is nuts. I've been on the Miss Universe show now. And the relationship I built with the amazing Miss Universe staff enabled me to have Miss Universe on my show. I started a show, Pageantry Now, as I left Las Vegas, from a hospital, because I got sick in Vegas and ended up in the hospital, and started Pageantry Now in the hospital. So.
Nothing stops you, Miss Stacey. Nothing slows you down. Hospital bed, broken leg, under a truck. Nothing slows you. Will keep. And I knew that about you when we first met, because you said, we met 4 years ago, and we were doing a meeting, and during the meeting you said, oh, I got to stop because I got to do my live. And you started the live show during the meeting. He said, I got to go do my live, and I got to do it now. And you were doing your live while you were like, everybody, shh, I got to do this. So nothing stops you. High Tech Mother said it's all about spreading love. So you have your gymnastics program, which you just relaunched. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, we've been going for Gymagination started in 2003, because a 3-year-old walked up to me and said, Miss Stacey, in another program, said, are we going to use our Gymagination today? And I said, yes, we are. Just let me write that name down. And then we started, and then I started the program a couple of months later in Texas. And then when I moved back here in 2010, it moved with me. It wasn't. And then with COVID in March 13th, where we were hosting our program closed permanently. And in the midst of this craziness that's going on in the world right now, one of our parents reached out to me and said, hey, we do have a retail space we'd like to be able to give to you if you're interested. I mean, not give, I have to pay for it. But
right.
So we opened 2 weeks ago. Our third week started yesterday.
Yes. So that's
it's crazy.
Awesome.
So that's my real life. I say that's my real life. Pageantry is my other life.
Yeah, it's your fantasy life that you're living. You're truly living. And so what's next for Pageantry Now?
Pageantry Now I have taken a little bit of a hiatus from it. And I do have 2 other people that are doing interviews right now for me, because I really have to focus on Gymagination so that we have an income to continue to do Pageantry Now. Pageantry Now, our goal is to not charge for it, so that it's a free service, so that we can really tell the story of title holders from the story part, because you see either what happens the day they get crowned, and you see great pictures and amazing things and that, and then you never see anything after that about them.
Correct.
Or you only see the bloopers from somebody fell on stage and that gets replayed over and over and over again.
Or if they put on
the
weight,
controversial, they put on weight.
If they put on weight during the year.
Yeah. I mean, or there was a controversial question that they missed incorrectly answered.
Yeah.
And that's what you see in social media these days. It's the hype part of it.
The sound bites and all that.
Right.
You don't really get to know the person and what their platform really is and how they're spreading their message. And that's what Pageantry Now is all about, getting to really understand who these women are and what their powerful platform message really is to the world, and how they're changing the world with, and a lot of them are young women that are passionate about what they're doing and what they're sharing about education and about, they have so much to give, and pageantry gives them that opportunity to really give. And I understand that better now. And I love that that's the mission of pageantry.
Right. Well, and that, I mean, like, I will take an example. I met Deshauna Barber. Deshauna Barber was Miss USA 2016. And I was at her crowning. I was there for the live show. The next time I saw her was at Miss Teen USA. And I spent 20 minutes talking to her and got to know her as a person. So when I competed for my title in the midst of Women of Achievement, she went live on the Miss USA with a Facebook page and said, "Hi, Stacey, she's my friend. Good luck this weekend." And I was like freaking out because, and yet in her story, Janet Jackson just shared her story 2 days ago on her Instagram, because Black Lives Matter, and that it's so strong right now in the United States, the message of overcoming and overpowering and being the true person that you are and having that experience. And that has allowed Deshauna to be that person. Pageantry gave her a platform to be able to be the better person that she is. And
we can see women that have risen to really incredible heights from pageantry and really built a phenomenal career in entertainment or in other industries from pageantry. You also had the opportunity to interview Miss Universe. Yes, Zozabini. So how was that experience as well?
Well, I think the interviewing Zoe was amazing. I was at her crowning as well. So we were at the press conference, and I will never forget being in the press room and hearing her answer about taking up space and how women need to take up space, be more. Mm-hmm. And you could hear the entire press room go, "Oh," like we knew that was the answer. We knew that what she said was going to make her win. And I knew, I mean, of the judges that were on the panel, I knew 4 of the 5 that I had interviewed, was friends with, been with. So I knew they were already feeling that same feeling that we were all feeling. And then when she walked into the room for the press conference, you could just feel it. She was happy, but she took up space. You felt that presence. Mm-hmm. And getting to know her more and having her on my show, and then spending, we only had about 45 minutes, I guess. But hearing about how she really is changing her world in South Africa, and now using that title universally to hopefully empower women to be their best selves and to grow and to not let anybody keep them from being the best person they can be. And I think that's really inspirational. And then being part of the legacy of having Miss Universe, Miss USA, and Miss Teen USA all be Black, and for me to have been at every single one of their crownings, and Miss America to be Black, and Miss United States was Black, and just to know that all of these titles saw what was happening to us as a planet, and understanding that we need to have representation, period.
Absolutely. And with that, Stacey, Talk to Me Movement says, great story. Stacey, love how you spell your name. And yes, that you'll apply great. I can't wait to interview you tomorrow and All Up in Your Business with Sebastian. Excellent. We'll see you again tomorrow on Dreamaniac TV. So that's it's so hard to wrap up an interview with you because you are so phenomenal and there's so much material. But that's it for us tonight. So
Oh my gosh.
Stacey, thank you so much. I know, for coming on and sharing your story and sharing really the heart of pageantry, because so many times, and I had someone, I had put up a picture of me winning my crown, and someone said that I was, thank you, Sanjit. I'm glad you're watching this episode. Thanks for sharing your journey, Stacey. Said that in light of the pandemic, that was very, that my post, because I was talking about confidence in the post and my alter ego, and she said that it was very vain and I forgot the other word that she used, but basically superficial and wow. How dare I put up a picture of me winning a crown during this time when people are suffering? And I was like, wow.
We offer hope. We offer hope.
So yeah. So, people still look at pageantry as this kind of superficial, vain, oh, you're just trying to, look at you in this dress and everything, just you're compensating for something, or you're empty inside, you got nothing else to offer the world. And that is so far from the truth. Every woman I've met in pageantry has so much heart and passion and a desire for helping and serving and reaching out. And this has given them a platform to do that. And so it is a remarkable industry, and it's not at all empty, or the women in it aren't empty-headed. And those women that have answered questions and fumbled and bumbled, it's because it is a nerve-wracking situation.
It's stressful. There's no doubt about it.
Stress situation, and you're asked to answer a question in a split second of hearing the question without time to think about the question. So ease up, ease up a little bit. And that's why they have interview process over days, so the judges get to know us over a longer period of time, and we're not judged on just that one 30-second sound bite of information. So that's it. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to wrap it, Stacey. I'm trying.
We can't wrap. We can't. Sorry.
I'm trying. Anyway, thank you so much. I love you, sister. And when this is all over and we can see each other again, I can come give you a big hug, because you're not too far away from me. All right. So thank you, everyone, for joining. I love all the comments. Thank you for participating, for being so active. I'm sorry I couldn't read all of them out loud, but it was just such great content that Stacey was sharing with us. And her life story is so miraculous and amazing. And you can catch more of her story tomorrow here on Dreamaniac TV. So make sure you tune in tomorrow at 7 for Almost Naked Conversation, or is it All Up in Your Business? I read it, but then I missed it. So join us tomorrow, All Up in Your Business with Stacey, here on Dreamaniac TV. Don't forget to hit notifications if you are on YouTube, so that you won't miss an episode when we go live. And also check us out on Facebook and on all social media platforms, Dreamaniac TV or Dreamaniacs. Just look us up. And always, 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 here we like to say that you dream big, we make it happen, and step out and live your life, please, with audacious confidence. Good night, everybody. Mwah.